Hello everyone! Today we're going to be reviewing our How Do We Classify Vertebrates science lesson. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. So what is a vertebrate? A vertebrate is an animal that has a backbone. So look at all of these different kinds of animals that have backbones. We have a snake, we have a frog, a fish, a bird, and a human because we are a vertebrate because we have a backbone. So here are just a few examples of some vertebrates that we're going to be talking about. So the very first category of our 5 different categories of vertebrates are fish. Fish come in many different sizes, shapes, and colors, and that's why I went ahead and made all these different colors to represent the different kinds of colors fish can be. Fish take in oxygen through their gills. So fish have gills and we have lungs. Gills allow fish to stay underwater for long periods of time. They don't have to come up for air. While we're swimming, humans, we have to come up for air because we have lungs, we don't have gills. Most fish lay eggs and they spend their whole life in water. A lot of animals, as we'll learn, are born in the water and then eventually move to land as they grow, but fish will always be in the water. And fish are cold-blooded. So cold-blooded means that they will adapt to any temperature water that they are in. So if they are in a cold environment, their body temperature will become cold. So think about if we are cold-blooded. Think about if humans are cold-blooded. We are not, because no matter what kind of temperature water we're in, our body temperature will always stay the same. We will always stay at 98.6, whether if we're in cold water or warm water. And then I posted a little picture of Nemo over here. Yay! All right, so let's talk about why a seahorse is considered a fish. So, because I see the name horse in the picture, so some people might think that he's not a fish, but seahorses are actually fish because they always live in the water. And seahorses actually do lay eggs. And a fun fact about seahorses is that the male is the one that keeps the eggs and lays them, which is pretty interesting. And they get their oxygen through gills. So seahorses don't have lungs, they have gills just like the other fish. So that is why they are fish. Now let's move on to our next category of vertebrates, which are amphibians. Amphibians all start life in water and then move to land as they grow. A few move to land as they grow. Some stay in the water. Most of them lay eggs in water, and they have soft, moist skin. So it's kind of like if you ever have touched a frog, they kind of have like rubbery, moist skin. They don't have like fur or anything like that. They're just made of rubber and they're kind of gooey, just like this little worm and a salamander. They're all kind of rubbery and wet. So these are amphibians. And then our next category of vertebrates are reptiles. Reptiles have scales covering their entire bodies. Like look at this alligator, the snake, the turtle. They all have scales covering their bodies. And just like amphibians, reptiles hatch from eggs. So some vertebrates give live birth and some lay eggs or hatch from eggs. So reptiles hatch from eggs and they lay eggs. And reptiles breathe with lungs. They must come up for air when they're in the water. That's why you sometimes see crocodiles just sitting up on the surface of the water because they're breathing, and same with turtles, they come up for air. All right, our next category is birds. Birds are animals that have wings, feathers, and beaks. They lay eggs and they breathe with lungs just like us. But some students think that all birds fly. Just if they have wings, they fly. That is not the case. Some birds, like these penguins over here, do not fly, which is interesting. So don't think that just because a bird has wings means that they fly, because some of them don't. But this flamingo over here and this bird over here, they do fly, but not all of them. And our final category are mammals. Mammals are animals that have fur or hair. So just like our dogs and cats at home, they have fur or hair, and so they are mammals. Most do not lay eggs. Our dogs and cats don't lay eggs, right? And they use lungs to breathe. So just like us, are we a mammal? We are. So some examples of mammals are the dolphin over here. Dolphins do not lay eggs. And we have an elephant, we have a gorilla, a tiger. These are all animals that have fur, do not lay eggs, and use lungs to breathe. So those are our 5 different categories of vertebrates. So let's go ahead and look at this chart. This is comparing some vertebrates versus invertebrates. So some examples of invertebrates, which is what we're going to talk about next week, are insects. So think about like spiders, snails, worms, animals like that don't have a backbone. So, but the ones with the backbone, like snakes, gorillas, fish, birds, have backbones. So that's the major difference between vertebrates and invertebrates. So let's go ahead and look at this question. It says, which of the following is not an invertebrate? So it's asking which of these is a vertebrate. Is a beetle not an invertebrate? Is a crab not an invertebrate? A jellyfish or a snake? Go ahead and do your fingers. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Which is not an invertebrate? All right, the answer is a snake. Remember, snakes do have backbones. That some might get confused by that because they're all like slithery and stuff, but they do have a backbone, and always remember that. So a snake is a vertebrate. All right. The next question is, study the graphic organizer below about characteristics of animal groups. Notice that the center of the graphic organizer is labeled animals. What could you change the word animals to so that the graphic organizer is still correct? So it's talking about this area right here. What could we change this word to make the graphic organizer correct? Could we change it to vertebrates? Could we change it to invertebrates? Animals with scales? Or animals that lay eggs? All right, what are we going to rename it? We're going to name it vertebrates, because remember, these are the 5 different categories of vertebrates that we just talked about. Invertebrates are, remember, insects, worms, none of these categories. Animals with scales, I remember only reptiles having scaly skin. These other ones don't have scaly skin. And animals that lay eggs, remember mammals don't lay eggs, guys. So your answer is going to be vertebrates. We could put this word and put it right in here, and it would still be correct. All right, that is the end of our review. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to ask me. And I hope you guys do very well on your quiz tomorrow. Bye.